Hello, welcome back to Definitely Watch It. I'm still sticking with that title, and this episode is all about the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This show, Amazon Prime original. Again, I reiterate the comments that I made about Netflix in the previous episode about Amazon Prime taking on shows that other traditional broadcast companies just wouldn't. And I think The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is a perfect example of the kind of show that Amazon Prime can just belt out and it be brilliant. For those of you who don't know what The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is, the shortest way I can describe it is it's about a 1950s New York Jewish housewife who turns to a career in stand-up comedy. Exactly. Sounds really weird and like, how is that a show? And that's often the response I've been getting from people when I tell them about it and recommend it to them. This is a show where I genuinely really struggle to fault it. It's almost, in a way, I don't want to say flawless because I don't think any TV show or film is flawless, but it's very close. It's very, very close. It's a drama, but I'd say it's a funny drama. It's got some comedy, a lot of comedy in it for obviously a stand-up comedian career. There is a lot of comedy in there. And the main things I want to highlight is, firstly, the writing is terrific. Terrific. It's from the writer and director, it's from the creator of Gilmore Girls, which is a hugely successful show a few years ago. Haven't seen it, but kind of always been wanting to give it a go, but haven't. And yeah, the dialogue is amazing. It's, the best way I can explain it is sort of like Sorkin dialogue, but again, I don't want to compare the two because they're both excellent in their own ways, but it's very quick, it's very witty, and it just keeps the pace up tremendously, and there's so many jokes and just funny moments that just whip by, but you don't miss it, they just come by really quick. And it's terrific, terrific writing. Beautifully shot, it looks amazing, the production design is fantastic. It's one of those moments where you're like, you can kind of understand why TV shows often need a lot of money behind them, because there's entire scenes in New York where an entire street is turned into its 1950s version of itself, and there's hundreds of 1950s cars going by and hundreds of extras in 1950s clothing, and it all looks beautiful. So really have to give credit to the production design and the costumes and all of those other little pieces that really bring the whole thing together and make it such an immersive experience, and you really do sink into that world of 1950s New York. I'm trying to think what else makes the show so good. It's weird because with a show like Dear White People, like I talked about in my previous video, I can very easily lay out, here's all the amazing reasons why it's amazing. But I have more of a trouble doing that with The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but it is as good as Dear White People. So I've probably just cut out about a minute of silence of just me thinking. And here's something I want to mention. The dynamic and chemistry between the two leads, Midge Maisel and Susie Meyerson, those are the characters' names, not the actresses, is terrific. The actresses are really good, but also how their characters are written make for this perfect odd couple combo of a Upper East Side, lived a life of luxury housewife with this, lives in a tiny New York apartment, has had basically no money her entire life, and works in a bar/comedy club, but with huge aspirations. Them coming together and working on this common goal is brilliant, because how it works is Midge Maisel is the housewife who's the stand-up comic, and then Susie Meyerson is her manager. And their interactions are just brilliant and impossible to look away from, because they're so interesting and, again, so well written, and it's just such a joy to watch. That's another thing, it's also not predictable. It really takes routes and goes down avenues that you're not expecting. The supporting cast are fantastic as well. Really, there isn't much of a weak link. They're all really good at their roles, obviously, and the whole thing fits together very neatly. Once or twice, looking at a flaw or two, occasionally storylines are sort of dropped, or I don't want to say forgotten about, but characters can sometimes have a good arc, but then return back to themselves. As an example, for someone who's seen it, I think the mother character, the mother of Midge Maisel, kind of has this fantastic arc at the start of season 2, but then seems just by the end just to be back to her normal self, or not as progressed as you had hoped watching the start of season 2. Having said that, I think the Joel character, the ex-husband, has a fantastic story arc. I mean, one of the best I've seen in a while. It's on Amazon Prime, so yes, again, I apologize for referencing a show on a streaming service, but it's really actually probably worth at least a free month. Just free month of Amazon Prime and just watch it through if you haven't got Amazon Prime. I would highly recommend it. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Again, season 3 is coming soon as well, which I'm super excited about, and it's definitely one to watch. Maybe that's what I should have called it. Definitely one to watch, or definitely watch it. Definitely watch it. I'll stick with definitely watch it. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this review of sorts of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's definitely up there. I keep now saying definitely. It's definitely one to watch. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have seen The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and if you've agreed or disagreed with what I've said, please do drop a comment down below, because I love discussing this kind of stuff, and it's always fun to chat about films and TVs, and particularly when there's disagreeing opinions, because then you can chat civilly and discuss things. Thank you. See you next time.